Welcome to Dynamo Dynamics, winning goals to digital dominance, where we bring together our love of football and technology into a coherent whole, hopefully. But today, I'm your host, Danny Perry, and I'm a little bit disappointed. With me, as always, is my guy, Peterson, and he'll tell you a little bit more why.
I'm a little disappointed as well. We're knocked out of the MLS playoffs. Very
Gut-wrenching.
Yeah,
it was a punch to the gut.
Loss. We had a red card, and it was our captain again. And again, we went to penalties. And lost in penalties. So
again.
And before that red card, we were the more dominant team on the pitch. We were really taking care of business. There were a lot of great attacking attempts. Our defense looked pretty solid as well, and our midfield was working to create the attack. And that red card just another shot in the foot.
It really was. It really was. And we had you had Kowalczyk come in for Karaskia, who we said last time was going to be a big loss for the team with his red card from the first playoff match. But he came in, he was functional. Dorsey was all over the pitch. He was really becoming my favorite player. We were talking earlier today, and he's becoming my favorite player. He was winding up the crowd. He was providing the width on his side. He was sending in crosses. He was defensively like the Tasmanian devil. He was awesome. I mean, he ultimately ended up with the assist on the own goal from a really nice cross that brought us level late in the game, the late game heroics that we're jumping ahead to. But so without Karaskia, it was going to be difficult anyway. Kowalczyk was functional, didn't provide the same level of attacking threat or defensive solidity that Karaskia usually does.
I think he just provided more of a scoring threat because earlier in the season he was our striker for a little bit, but creating the chances, not as much. Definitely
not. And I guess at that moment, I mean, we were the more dominant team. I think we had a lot more attempts on goal. We had better attempts, better shot opportunities, and the goal just didn't come at that point. And then the red card, man, it was Herrera had been warned earlier on a foul, like, hey, I'm not going to give you a yellow for this one, but don't do that again. You could tell what the ref said to him. And then that second foul, he got the yellow card, and it upset him, and he turned and spit on the ground.
But it was kind of towards the ref. So I think the referee was just more of sending a message because he is the captain.
He was.
You don't want to see. That's supposed to be our team's leader. Yeah. You don't want to see them acting like that. Yeah. But in a playoff game, he's just showing passion. That's all it is.
And it was an emotional moment at that point in time. We were in the ascendancy at that point as well.
We had all the momentum.
All of the momentum at that point in time. And VAR took another look at it and decided that his spitting on the ground in the general direction of the referee was a straight red. Off he goes, the captain, who should literally know better in that situation. Yeah. I get it, but at the same point, you hate to see matches swing on that.
And it felt again like the tides just turned. As soon as that happened, I felt like we were just down right there. Yeah. Same thing happened in the first game. I was just like, 10-man on the pitch.
And the struggle begins.
And we played a heck of a game. Yeah. When did they score? I don't remember the exact minute.
They scored in the 87th minute.
We held them off for 25 minutes, something like that. That's pretty.
And we had good attacking opportunities, even down 10 men. But it's almost inevitable when you're down like that. Yeah. Down a man, it's almost inevitable that you're going to concede a goal. And they did in the 87th minute to Roldan. And at that point in time, I sent you a text because you weren't able to watch the game, but saying, I think it's over.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. Yeah. But it wasn't. We go into extra time
and Dorsey.
My man Dorsey. That's what I'm going to start calling him from this point.
He did his magic there, and he got us the goal back. Really.
He did. He pretty much created that. He took the pass. He did a little bit of dribbling, but then he got in a really, really good cross right across the face of goal. And in their scramble to defend, knocked it in themselves. So that was awesome. And so it was like, okay, spoke too soon, but we're still in this thing.
And then we go to penalties. And the game's over. We go end of regulation. We go to penalties, and we lose 7-6 in pens. And
we made it through the first 5. We did have a good VAR decision during the penalties, though. The goalkeeper came off his line, and so it was Kowalczyk, I believe it was,
Kowalczyk,
who got the opportunity to retake his penalty that had been saved. So I'm sure he was happy about that.
That definitely helped.
I'm sure he was happy about that.
But it's really hard to lose 2 games back to back on penalties when we didn't save a single penalty. I think to me that's the biggest thing. It's in a penalty shootout. It's really anyone's game.
Was.
We watched the Euros, and we were always excited whenever there was a team that was not supposed to be in a position to win the game in penalties. And
I mean, and we've talked about Clark all year long and how he's been so solid. He won us quite a few matches this year, and he's a really solid keeper. But some of those penalties were begging to be saved. That was, I mean, I saw it. I know I saw one for sure, and
I can't agree more.
And there were a couple more that at least get a hand on it. Or where he just dropped one knee and it was over. And that was not to bag on him, because, like I said, he was our hero for a good part of the season. But I guess I just would have liked to have seen better, a little bit better.
I think I would have liked to see a better, at least better productivity out of the penalties. I mean, all year, I think our first 4 to 5 episodes, we were saying how he just like amazed us. Like, we would see some of the craziest saves I've seen in football a year, and he was making them, but we never got to see him in a penalty shootout with a lot of pressure, and I think maybe the pressure got to him. That's what really separates good players from great players, is doing your job under the pressure, and he just kind of failed to do so.
So one save would have made a world of difference in that regard. But suffice it to say, we are out. We are out of the playoffs, and a great season by the Dynamo all the way around. But we just, I think, wanted more. And we didn't get it ultimately, but it can't discount what this team did accomplish this year.
Great season. I mean, I think even us being disappointed on the ending result of this past game just shows that we knew the Dynamo should have done better. I mean, we're holding them to a higher standard than we would have if they were in 8th place and we were just
barely made it into the playoffs.
Yeah. We had a bunch of ups and downs, but we were really just on a steady
ascendancy all year long. But we did gain one thing from this: a visceral hatred for the Seattle Sounders.
4 games. 4 games we played them. Couldn't get a single win. Not a draw. Not a win. Nothing.
All right, Sounders, you have a rivalry now. I can't really dislike the team, but I can dislike the results, and I can dislike the team. I dislike the team. So sorry, Sounders fans, but we are not going to be satisfied until we defeat you. So four matches, 4 defeats. That's just not satisfying at all.
But we got the rest of the MLS playoffs to watch. So there's been a few upsets. I know you
called one, or I know you called the Vancouver versus were they playing LA? The
LAFC,
the Plain FC. And you called a 8 versus 1 upset in game 1. It happened in game 2. So now that's actually a series. You have a wild card who's going to game 3.
And we saw Columbus lose to, I forgot who they were playing, but they played a 7 seed and they got knocked out. They got swept in 2 games.
I have those here. Let's see. So take a lap around MLS. So Columbus lost to Red Bull New York. They were swept. And Cincinnati is versus New York NYFC, and right now that series is tied 1-1, going to a deciding game 3. Orlando and Charlotte 1-1, going to a deciding game 3, as well as Miami versus Atlanta.
Yeah, that's gonna be a game.
What? The Inter Miami, it didn't.
We have said it, Atlanta has been a very solid club throughout the years. This year, I think they're not on their best form, but teams that are supposed to be in those positions somehow, even with not the best teams, they somehow know how to play up to the standard that they should be. And I think that's what they ended up doing in that game too.
But it goes to a game 3 now, and it's anybody's game. I know that the league would pretty much, or MLS overall, they'll never say it, but I'm sure they want to see Inter Miami move forward. But game 3, anything can happen, and you have now 2 wild cards who are in deciding game 3s. Vancouver on the other side. And that set of the bracket is a little more set with LA moving past Colorado. And then do we have Real Salt Lake?
They got knocked out.
Yeah, by Minnesota. Dynamo. And then the Vancouver LAFC matchup.
Yeah, so big games coming up.
Yeah, it's going to be. It should still be fun. We'll try to drag ourselves up out of the gutter and watch the rest of this. But obviously, our disappointment is with the Dynamo. But how do you see this thing going forward?
MLS playoffs or Dynamo?
Yeah.
MLS playoffs?
Yeah.
I think it's anyone's game at this point. I mean, I think the way Seattle played, I think they could move on because they play very smart tactically and defensively. They
may have the best defense left in the playoffs.
Maybe so. They I mean, what was it? One goal in 2 games against us. That was
it's pretty impressive. Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm going for the wild cards, man. I think I'm going to stick with. I'm pulling for Vancouver and Atlanta right now on both sides, and let's go. Just knock the big guys out. And there's always the methodology of saying, well, not wrong word, but you know what I mean. The guys who beat us, you want to see them go forward and win it all, but I just can't. I can't do it. I can't do it.
We'll see. Depending on who they play, that'll be my determining factor on who I'm rooting for.
All right. For right now, I'm going with the wild cards, Vancouver, Atlanta. Who are you going for? I mean,
let us know. Let us know in our socials, and we'll be keeping y'all up to date on this tournament. And then after the tournament, we'll be keeping y'all up on Dynamo if we have any
transfer news, like
any pickups, any players retiring or anything. We'll let y'all know, and just keep up with us.
Definitely hit us on our socials. Love to hear from you all, and let us know how you think the rest of this MLS playoffs is going to go. But that's it for us right now. Unfortunately, this is the end of our Dynamo coverage for our first year of this show and for this season. So sad, though, that maybe we're very proud of how the team did, and definitely enjoyed covering them from beginning to end for this year. So join us again next week. We'll talk MLS playoffs all the way through, and Seattle Sounder hatred. All right. All right, thanks, folks.